English translation 99th Contact. Wednesday, 4th January 1978, 2204 HRs.
As I promised, I want to tell you about the health of Sim Ya-se. According to the circumstances, she is in very good health, and our doctors are extremely satisfied. Sim Ya-se is already in her home, but still under permanent monitoring by Playa, her sister, who is trying to keep her well. There is no more damage or disadvantages to be feared, so she only needs the necessary rest.
That pleases me enormously. I should tell you again for her the very best and very dearest wishes of all, if you want to convey them to her.
Of course. Of course, I should also thank you all very much in the name of Sim Ya-se, and tell you that she thinks very actively of you and greets you all.
Thank you, Quetzal. That makes me and all the others very happy.
Unfortunately, I still have some things to say that will not please you.
Why, what is going on now?
You really do not know?
How could I? I do not even know what you are talking about.
Some unpleasant things have formed in your group that are very unfortunate. On the whole, they are fictitious issues that have been created in irrationality and conceit, and that lack any basis for any real concern. This is very unfortunate, all the more so because through some of your group members are manufacturing a danger of destruction, because again their constant unreasonableness and also their arrogance and the treachery in them becomes active. Basically, all core group members should already have progressed so far that these concerns are no longer important, and we no longer need to deal with them. But this is not the case, because the problems with some group members are getting bigger and bigger instead of smaller and more equalized. They also become more and more confused and non-transparent, but also more infamous in their manner, sometimes even with hidden threats and other excesses. Partly, the behavior and thinking is a very small-minded posturing, mixed with megalomania and other phenomena of selfishness and discord. When will everyone finally come to the point where they try to recognize their own mistakes before they think malicious thoughts about seemingly unjust and inadequate machinations of other group members? How long should it go on that some people attribute their own mistakes to others just because they do not want to recognize them and shift the responsibility to remedy them onto others? This behavior, in connection with various other things, seems to me more and more like play schoolmakings, where toddlers beat each other up, harass each other, play quarrelsomely and argue and secretly accuse each other to the supervisory body of the play school. This is the unreasonable fuss of underage and still poor in knowledge toddlers, but not of people who want to grow up. It is extremely regrettable to me that I have to pronounce these hard words for the absurd actions of individuals, but they correspond to the truthful meaning of the events. All the rules of order we advise are shamefully disregarded by individuals, and even the regulations we issue for the task in the Sohar Center are sullenly obeyed and reluctantly accepted by certain group members. Your wife was chosen by us according to her qualities and her all-hastening progress for the center task, and was introduced and appointed by you on our behalf. Now, however, it turned out in the end that this was objected to in a thought-based manner and brought to the center, after which it was registered by our monitoring apparatus from Margreth. This, especially by a female group member, who should strive much more for the truthful concerns of all things of the given truth teaching rather than getting caught up in things of the irrational teaching and untruth and delusion. Also, various members of the group secretly talk about things and concerns that should not be brought to your ears, but which are usually not of value to you because they are only unreasonable, erroneous, and distorting. But we do not find it correct, and thus also rule-violating, that such irrational speeches are made secretly at all. On the other hand, However, these secret speakers do not have the courage to openly explain their objectionable non-issues, which as a rule are based only on the fact that they object to things which they are unable to understand, or which have been told untruthfully, etc., but which they then continue to tell as half-truths and falsifications, or which they broker secretly among themselves in an incomprehensible and false manner. This is very unfortunate, and I must truly ask myself whether it is still worth it if we continue to strive to impart more knowledge to you and make your concerns ours. Slowly, our understanding is giving way to a non-understanding, and already voices have been raised among us that we should withdraw from the Earth-human contact area, since our advice and necessary orders are constantly only acted against. And if this unreasonable action is not stopped and continues uninterruptedly, I will have to give way to the majority of the votes, because already a question on this matter has been directed to the High Council, whose advice I now have to wait for before I can release further information for you.
You frighten me, Quetzal. You cannot be serious.
My words correspond to the truth, even if they do not correspond to my own decision.
Should everything really be over when the High Council says yes? Man, that really can only be a damn bad joke.
Appropriate counsel will be followed by us, which may mean that we will break off the contacts to your group, except to you.
But that would be very unfair, because not all of them fall within the framework you mentioned. You spoke of only a few.
For those who truly make an effort, the contact is maintained, but it serves only and exclusively for their own benefit, while the unreasonable and knowingly wrong-acting and treacherous ones can no longer participate in it, because through their actions and wrong thinking, they endanger everything.
This means that different, or even some, as you have said, should be excluded from direct participation.
You see it correctly.
And should that really be forever? And how do you imagine that we others should continue to work?
Leaving the group would probably be final. Regarding your task, you, by the way, will have to continue working on your own if necessary, but without our help. For the Sohar Center, and your efforts for it, and the evolution of the individuals who are left behind, we will continue to strive, because for those who truly strive, there should be no discrimination in this respect. Their help will also be needed for later incarnations.
And how then is the whole task to be fulfilled?
This will no longer be possible, but only partial fulfillments will be achievable in the very long run, which means that all given prophecies will be fulfilled without changing potencies, and the earthly humankind will be defeated very much by itself. The reality is that the small number of your group would be able to prevent much in the long run if all members were to integrate themselves and fulfill their obligations. So now everything stands on very wobbly feet, and a probability calculation from our side seems to come true, namely that various factors of the negative are now coming to the fore through the unreasonableness of a few determined ones.
Then at least explain to us who are those who transgress.
I cannot do that yet, because first of all I still have to give them a chance, despite everything, until I receive the advice of the High Council. Secondly, I would thereby only, or perhaps too early, conjure up something that can possibly still be avoided if the unreasonable ones think of something better. But this would mean that even the few in the Sohar Center are now making great efforts, because the records of the last part of December of the Center have shown a rather nasty lack of interest and carelessness on the part of some, and those concerned know about it very well themselves. But it would also be necessary for them to very quickly undergo the transformation of making every effort to do everything in every form, as the rules of order, on the one hand, make this clear by giving advice, and, on the other hand, as the task requires this in the necessary cooperation and seriousness. All those who are concerned with isolating themselves and who are of the false belief that they would not find a connection or union with other contemporaries, with younger or older ones, etc., should also very quickly free themselves from their false feelings and thoughts. But also the very childlike attitudes and assumptions that we disadvantage them should be dismantled in the shortest time, which also refers to the fact that you would do this because you would have no or not enough time for them, and so on. Those who think like this should realize that we, like you, have a lot of other work to perform than to only deal with them, that they usually only have fictitious problems, and therefore behave like jealous children who get angry and go astray when you cannot care for them, because we, or you, are in a helping effort with someone else. It is also objectionable that the two group members, Margaret and Marcel, on their way home that night, indulged in malicious thoughts about Jacobus, revolting and destructive, although they had no words to say in the matter, namely concerning the unfortunate event around Simyase, consequently also no thoughts. If this had been necessary, it would have been done by us. There was, however, no requirement for this which those two group members should note, who brought each other into anger with very stupid and even primitive utterances, and who were of the rather stupid opinion that nobody would gain knowledge of what was spoken about the concerns of Jacobus Simya say between them. They have completely forgotten that their thoughts were not ignored by us in this regard. Also that female group member Margaret should very quickly bring her thoughts under control and change them, which deals with your wife in quite negative form, and has built up a very and extremely unjustified aversion and a strange form of hatred against her, which the Sohar Center analyzers have registered. Even the very evil neglect of various things and concerns should be corrected very quickly by the mistakes, as well as the very urgent cooperation in manual work. Wrong actions and wrong thinking lead to the destruction of the whole task, but also to the destruction of the group, which is why each of the fallible members of the group should finally make a thoughtful and corrective effort to integrate themselves into the right values and act accordingly, and also think in the same manner. Otherwise, they put their own evolution into question and again fall into stagnation, which would bring bad consequences for their later personalities in later incarnations. This alone would also be the only hopeful reason to change the minds of those of us who would choose to break off contacts. However, a change would have to happen very quickly and not only lead to half-measured success. It would also have to be in completely honest form, because any pretense would only be to their further detriment, because everything would have to be monitored by us.
But this would require the names of the fallible ones, Quetzal, because how else would you tell them?
There is no need whatsoever for a naming, because the fallible ones themselves know very well about their false machinations. I have already given you 2 reasons why I will not mention the names of those.
As you like. But tell me, why do you trample on my wife like you said?
I already explained it to you. All that remains to be explained is that the group member in question, Margaret, is too concerned in her thoughts with herself and with her state of evolution, and classifies herself far too highly, and that your wife has apparently outstripped this group member in terms of the state of evolution by a great deal within only a few months, if we are not mistaken.
That my cannibal has achieved a great deal. You have said that several times, and I have also noticed that, which is why I am so happy. But is that perhaps another reason for jealousy?
You are very perceptive.
Oh my, this is going to be fun.
You actually have reason for concern.
Can you not see to it that everything is ironed out again? You know, it is childish now, what I am telling you, and kind of a bribery attempt. Just before I left Jacobus and Guido, Guido told me to especially thank you for all that you have done for all of us in all the time that you have made efforts for us. Do you not think it would be good and fair, at least for everyone, if you turn a blind eye again and try to help us? I am convinced of it, son, that you also be thanked, and that at least all those who are serious about our task, and who have so far made a lot of effort, will make a much greater effort. It would really only be fair, for all their effort and will, if you would iron everything out for us again. You know, it is but simply impossible that everything we have been able to do so far should simply be kaput or should become kaput, just because an obvious few must rebel and do not know what they actually have to do. Should then, oh damn it again, should all your efforts have been in vain, and think of all those who will cry their eyes out and howl if you really let this shit happen, only because some do not know what they even have to do. You really cannot do a shortcut just because everything is not going as you envisioned it would. Remember that we cursed earth moles are as ignorant and barbaric as the last monkeys from the jungle. Consider for once that the truth has not been fed to us off of spoons, and that your fair ancestors were involved in this damned mess. Just remember that you cannot turn an earth human into a pig, and then give him or her only one short chance to develop into a human being again. Remember, damn it, that your ancestors stole and ruined all our knowledge, raised themselves up before us as gods and god creations, and that they were the ones who rejoiced in our ruination and exploited us through it, absolutely knowing that we had to turn into the most miserable mess in the entire universe. It is therefore damn unfair if, for once, you take a close look at everything from our side, if you just want to leave us lying in the dirt. We are barbarians. Unknowing, poor, and damned pigs, yes. But we became that through your ancestors, my son. Consider that. And if you already know that, and you know that damn well, because otherwise you would not have come to us to help us, and to bring back to us what your heroic, damned ancestors have ruined for us, why do you not feel obliged to help us to the very end, even if we are still quite stupid and primitive in our cursed ignorance, because all our knowledge has been stolen or ruined? Man, are you not more than your lousy ancestors, those long-haired monkeys and damn good-for-nothings? Are you not actually really better, huh? If that is not the case, then just go away. Be damn cowards and useless, but then leave us in peace and quiet. For thus, in all honor, we still degenerate completely and one day blow the entire universe to smithereens. Just do not believe that we cannot do this without you, and just do not believe that we cannot live without you. Sure, all knowledge will perish again, but then you will hear from us in a completely different form one day, as you imagine this in your damned lack of understanding of and arrogance towards us. Go away and leave us in peace, for barbarians like us can also live without you and go our way and live in—
Stop the—
Just do not interrupt me because I have much better and nicer things to say to you.
I beg you, please be quiet.
So,
Please, I only want to—
you can—
Please, I am asking you, my friend. You are very upset and have told me things that make me very thoughtful. Maybe your words correspond to many parts of the correctness that is not to be denied. It is probably appropriate for me to consult with the others again and try to stop the transmission to the High Council. Your outburst of feeling has opened and made visible to me some perspectives that we have never considered. I give you my word that I intercede for you with all those who have sought contact resolution. However, I cannot give you a promising word, my friend, but I will do my best. If a clarification of the situation in your favor should not be possible for me, then I would have to let the High Council advise me on the matter, after which I would only return when I would be in possession of their advice.
Then go ahead, man, and do something before the whole damn thing is totally messed up.
You are in a lot of distress, dear friend. That is the only reason you talk to me like that. I know very well, and with all clarity, that you have completely different feelings and other impulses towards me than those which you now want to make credible to me in your great distress. It is very painful for me to see you in your desperate pain.
Man, set me down, right down here, otherwise something will happen.
As you like, you can go now. If you like, goodbye.
Well, it makes it easier for me not to have to see you anymore.
Your words are very painful to me, but I understand you, and therefore I will do my best to make sure that you